What if the fate of the multiverse depended on the most socially awkward guy in Pasadena? Is a psychological horror set during World War I? It finds that battery electric cars sold today in Europe emit nearly 4 times less greenhouse gases over their lifetime than gasoline cars. What's up, everyone? Welcome to your weekly tech update, the show that explores the newest, coolest, and yes, sometimes just downright crazy side of the interwebs. I am your tech director, Ray McNeil. Coming up on the program today, what if the fate of the multiverse depended on the most socially awkward guy in Pasadena? That is exactly the bizarre, hilarious setup HBO Max is bringing with its newly announced Big Bang spin-off. This electric plane can fly for 130 kilometers for just $8. Happening in this week's What The? A mesocyclone was spotted in North Dakota, and it was caught on tape. It is scary and magnificent all at the same time. Also happening in this week's What The? A policeman takes down an axe-wielding man in a shopping mall by channeling his inner Black Widow. And of course, we'll wrap up the program with this week's Moment of Joy. All that and a whole lot more coming up on today's edition of your weekly tech update. Next. If you're like me and a big fan of the Big Bang Theory, well, you were probably also like me and a little standoffish when you heard about Kevin Sussman returning as Stuart and being the lead character in this spin-off. Well, I am now uber excited about it because we got the full rundown on the concept of the show, and I'm more excited than ever. This sounds like an amazing series by some amazing creators that have already proven themselves. What if the fate of the multiverse depended on the most socially awkward guy in Pasadena? That's exactly the bizarre, hilarious setup HBO Max is bringing with its newly announced spin-off, Stuart Fails to Save the Universe. And yes, it is as chaotic as it sounds. Fans of The Big Bang Theory remember Stuart Bloom as the quiet, unlucky, in-love comic book store owner who somehow became part of the gang. Now, he's accidentally triggered a multiverse Armageddon using a device created by Sheldon and Leonard, and it's up to him to fix reality, even if he's the last person you trust with the universe's survival. Kevin Sussman is back as Stuart, and he's not alone. Lauren Lapkus returns as Denise, and they're joined by 2 more cult favorite side characters, the rock-loving geologist Bert and the speech-challenged scientist Barry Kripke. But it's not just nostalgia bait. Things take a wild sci-fi turn as the group encounters alternate versions of the Big Bang crew. Imagine Parallel Penny, a sinister Sheldon, even a heroic Howard. Because anything's possible when reality collapses. Chuck Lorre, the mastermind behind the original, is shaking things up, calling his new series radical and proudly outside of his comfort zone. Co-creators Bill Prady and Zach Penn are on board too, blending deep science fiction mythology with quirky humor fans still quote today. This isn't just another reunion, it is a full-blown universe-hopping comedy that dives headfirst into everything nerd culture. For a show that once made physics funny, Stuart Fails to Save the Universe seems ready to push boundaries further than ever before. One wrong turn at the comic book store, and suddenly Stuart is the multiverse's last hope. Ready or not, the Big Bang universe just got a whole lot weirder. We do not know when it's going to be released as of yet, but it will be sometime next year. I'm sure we'll get more details as we get closer to that date. Oh man, VR games are getting crazy. This next one is a psychological horror set during World War I. Yep, you heard me. Check out this trailer for Trenches VR. latest report from the International Council on Clean Transportation, or ICCT, comes to a rather startling conclusion. It finds that battery electric cars sold today in Europe emit nearly 4 times less greenhouse gases over their lifetime than gasoline cars. Well, that's not exactly news to all of us here at your weekly tech update. What is unusual is the pains the authors of the study went to in order to dispel information and myths that continually swirl around electric vehicles. Misinformation and selective use of data have generated confusion regarding the climate credentials of electric cars. The ICCT analysis provides transparency of the impact of a selection of flawed assumptions, such as not accounting for the development of the grid during the lifetime of vehicles and using non-representative data on vehicle fuel consumption and lifetime. One common claim is that electric cars have higher emissions associated with battery manufacturing, while manufacturing emissions for battery electric cars are actually 40% higher than for gasoline cars. The ICCT's research shows that the initial emissions debt is typically offset after around 17,000 kilometers of driving, usually within the first 1 to 2 years of use in Europe. Dr. George Beaker, a fitting name for a research scientist, at the ICCT, he's the senior researcher, by the way, said, "We hope this study brings clarity to the public conversation so that policymakers and industry leaders can make informed decisions. We've recently seen auto industry leaders misrepresenting the emissions math on hybrids, but life cycle analysis is not a choose-your-own-adventure exercise. Our study accounts for the most representative use cases and is grounded in real-world data. Consumers deserve accurate, science-backed information." Wow, what an amazing study. The report continues saying, quote, "The ICCT analysis covers the greenhouse gas emissions from vehicle and battery production and recycling, fuel, and even electric production, fuel consumption, and maintenance. Its methodology also accounts for the development of the electricity mix along the lifetime of vehicles, as well as real-world usage rather than official test values to estimate fuel and electricity consumption, which is key to assessing plug-in hybrid emissions." Translation, what you're seeing is the truth based on all of the factors that we have available, not some made-up horsepucky designed to satisfy some agenda. The final conclusion to the ICCT research is unambiguous. Our findings support the following policy considerations: the phase-out of the new ICEV, HEV, and PHEV registrations by 2035 would align sector emissions with EU climate targets. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.